So good afternoon. I hope you're looking forward to some real heavy industrial automation and digitization. My name is Peter, and I'm heading the industrial business for Schneider Electric. I'd like to talk to you about digitization. Why digitization in industry? Because we need to increase our competitiveness. We need to increase our competitiveness to others, or we're going to be left behind. And I can tell you that digitization is already in full swing. It's about connectivity, it's about a lot of data, it's about analytics, it's about having information at your fingertip to improve your processes. So what's out there to gain? Or what's out there to lose if we talk about competitiveness? Because if you don't do it, you're probably going to lose out against your competitors. So what's out there to gain? From that perspective, we're really talking about the operational efficiency of all your facilities end to end. So from design to build to operation to maintenance and to optimization in a closed loop. So you go throughout the complete value chain to optimize your process in your factory or in your plant or in your operations. In the example I'm going to be talking about, and it's an example out of the food and beverage industry, and you will see that later on, that's applicable in any other industry that we'll really be talking about, and I'll take references in between. We're talking really about three topics in this example, and you'll see it's about the energy and the water demand that is very, very critical in food and beverage applications. It's about the raw material price. So how can I get the best output out of the least input that I have? And then, as in many other industries in the food and beverage industry, you have a lot of regulatory requirements that you need to adhere to, otherwise they're going to be shutting down your operations. So I'll be showing a short video in a second, and it's of our partner Waterforce in New Zealand that has worked with farmers down there in a partnership with Microsoft and ourselves to resolve a couple of challenges that their customers in the farms in New Zealand have. Those challenges are start off with remote management, remote asset management. So if you look at the assets here on the picture and you imagine the sizes of the farms, in this example we're talking a 400 hectare or 900 acre farm. Obviously the farmer cannot go and visit the assets every day, see whether they are in operation, whether they are well functioning, and so forth. So it's about the remote management of those assets. It's about the regulatory requirements that exist and document those accordingly so that you can eliminate paperwork and have the information at your fingertip if you're audited or if later on in the process something goes wrong. Third challenge is that you want to do this, of course, in real time. Not 5 minutes later, not 10 minutes later, but in real time. You want to have information to control the process, to increase the yield that you have out of the farm. So the result that you will see shortly is the farmers were able to reduce the usage of energy and water in their farm by 50%. And that's really the cost that drives their operation. The asset utilization went greatly up because they didn't need to drive from irrigation to irrigation and check whether the equipment would work, but they could remotely monitor and focus on the areas where they had problems, and if no problems were there, they can focus on other things to increase their profitability. And then, of course, since we have a couple of alliance partners or system integrators here, it has also revolutionized the business model of Waterforce, who is a local system integrator, in respect to moving to digital services and being very close to their customer, being able to enhance their business. So let's see what happens in the farm out there.
Farming has changed dramatically over the last 20, 30, 40 years.
Scotty Farmer is a software solution that's been used by farmers in New Zealand. The software servers are connected to the irrigators and to the pumps. It allows us to adjust the amount of water we apply to the land, and it can integrate with the weather forecasts that are coming and make adjustments on the fly to the irrigator.
The machine might be saving up to 50% of its allocated water use, and I could contribute that to the efficient use of Schneider Farm. I wouldn't go back without it.
Built on Azure IoT, Schneider Electric allows us to collect and analyse the data needed to deliver the insights our customers require to stay competitive. To transform the way we farm, we need a trusted cloud platform that is as global and local as our own industry. And that's why we went with Schneider Electric and Microsoft.
So I'm by no means a farmer, but I see the challenge that they have. They need to worry about the sustainability of their farm, while at the same time they need to make sure that they reduce some of the resources and increase the yield that they get out of the same piece of land. Now, and I've shown you a couple of pictures. What's different to other industries? What's different to somebody who's in minerals, who needs to deploy the minerals, who needs to crush them, who needs to bring them into a finished material, bring the finished material to a customer, and then make sure that the finished material is of a high quality. And if there's a problem, they can track back all the way to where the material, out of which mine it came. No big difference. So what has really happened here is we've put technology to work with a cloud system, with IIoT, with our partners together to enable them to have this data on hand. If we look at the front end of what you've seen of the devices that the farmer had, we can use any device to allow full transparency, be it a mobile unit, be it on a PC, be it on a phone. On any device, data is going to be made available, and this runs on our Ecostructure industrial software platform. It can be either on-premise or it can be on the cloud. So imagine you have several farms or you have several mines, and you want to have data for every single operations, or you would bring it to the cloud so you can see it throughout your whole operation, allowing you transparencies with the HMI SCADA system here, historian data, and of course also third-party data. Third-party data in this respect was what's the weather, how much rain do we have, when do we going to have the rain. It all has to come together frictionless, as we say. So it's got to be very easy to connect third-party data, if it's not a Schneider device, but it's somebody else's device, or if it's a third-party data. And you want to bring it very quickly to the cloud. Within 5 minutes, you can actually bring data in our system to the cloud. It's as easy as that. And the benefit is very clear. It creates transparency, number one. It allows for augmented decisions, meaning it augments the intelligence of the operator, and with that better decisions, and those resulting in higher yields. Of course, that's what we want at the end of the day. So if we move from the farm into the facility, and in the facility I'm going to be talking about the primary process and the secondary process, either to produce the dairy and then also later on to package it. We want, of course, to transform the facility into a smart facility, and with that we want to bring flexibility up. In this example here that I'm going to be talking about, we have the Yashili infant formula. It's a Chinese company that produces in New Zealand because all the raw materials are there. They can give a very high quality and fulfill the quality requirements that they have at their customers. And one of the things that is very critical is in this plant, they want to make sure that they can run 6 recipes at the same time and changing on the fly. This becomes quite complicated for those of you who have a processing plan and you want to change recipes very quickly. You want to make sure that this goes very smoothly. It goes without human interaction, so you want the automation system directly connected to the ERP system so the recipes can go down into the PLC. You change over. Of course, you need the very high-speed PLC controller that we've employed here, and quite a complicated a process that is run. But this flexibility and agility that we can give the customer with our equipment allow them to do the quick changes, to fully automate it, and to do all of that error-free. Now, obviously, I can do a lot of talk in that respect, and let me quote the process OEM that has done the plant here, as you can see. He said, we've designed, and I need to read this here, the quote, "We've designed and built scores of dairy projects, but as an infant formula plant, Yashili was quite a bit more complex. The facility produces 6 types of infant formulas, as I said, each requiring different recipes with a range of unique ingredients. This additional complexity was the key motivation for us to opt for a solution based on Schneider Electric's Ecostructure architecture. It's very reliable and robust technology." And you can see that they have done an excellent job. If you look here at the control room and you see all the drives and how neatly this is done, as an automation engineer, one gets excited when looking at that. So now I know how my wife feels if she stands in front of the cabinet with all those shoes in there. That's how I feel when I see this one here. Now obviously, when the primary process is finished, we want to move into the packaging of the equipment, into the secondary process. And the machine builder with whom we've partnered here is called Somic. So they have produced a packaging machine to bring the formula into these small capsules. And the machine that they have designed has 76 motion axes. They have reduced the footprint of the machine to half the size. And with that, still doubled the output. Half the size of the machine, 76 axes, fully automated, virtually cabinetless, this machine, and we'll show this in a second what that means. And that requires, of course, a lot of engineering. And the engineering these days starts off with a digital twin of the machine. So you're actually designing the machine virtually. You put our PLC control, what we say, into the loop, and you can see that the digital model of the machine is operating at the speed that the PLC and the We can look into the cabinet without opening it, and a lot of information is available. Let's look, for example, at the wiring diagrams of this cabinet. Anne is bringing up the wiring diagram. How cool is that? Usually, and many of you know, you open the cabinet, you want to look for some of the prints, they're not there. Where are the blueprints? Where are the wiring diagrams? Same is true in the pharmaceutical industry, and we see this in more and more industries to come, that people can really document from raw material to finished good what's happening. The benefit is of course very clear with the information and brand, and of course also you want to make sure that there is not only physical attack to your product. Of the journey of the product. So I think this traceability allows you to win customers because it improves or it shows the quality that you've put into that product, and it gives, of course, this is also needed at an extreme trust to your customers. In case you have a recall, it becomes fairly simple because you can really locate where the things went. And then, of course, the documentation at the end of the day is really the key. So we want to make sure, and the example really said from farm to fork. I think it's from farm to glass. And I think all of us want to make sure that the kit at the end of the day gets a high quality product where we know what's in there and where it came from. But the end-to-end digitization that I've been showing here, and I think it's independent whether it's a food and beverage operation or any other, if you think about it really. It's about the sustainability improvements. That means, can we reduce the usage of energy and water while expanding the yield, an agile production where we had 6 different types of formulas that were produced in the same plant, empowered operator. I think Anne showed it very, very well. And then ultimately, of course, all this digitization is only to increase competitiveness and not stay behind. Of course, I need to show you the Ecostructure architecture slide here because a capex, and then they run over a very, very long period of time. So in oil and gas refinery would be one example, or where you have huge number of products that are manufactured. So in automotive or in the food and beverage industry, we can see that also quite massively, where things have been further advanced and where the competitive pressure is extremely high. But I can tell you it's happening throughout all industries.
Cost or labor cost in our factory?
I think number one is to create a transparency in your factories. So understand what's the uptime of the machineries, where is, when, how much energy used. So if you create transparency in your complete manufacturing process of cement, and you have a variety of different plants, you can compare them. You can figure out where do you use most of the energy, do an assessment, reduce the energy in, I don't know, for example, the grinding process, because it's not the most advanced variable speed drive that is there, it does not run at the ideal point of operation. But it really starts off with creating transparency in every single facility that you have. Thank you very much for spending your afternoon with me. Looking forward to also catch up with you if we have a chance, and if you have any questions, please approach me. Thank you so much.